Prabhupada ki. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jam Vishpad Paramhamsa Pravidya Kacharya Shotar Satashi Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ke. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ke. Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ke. Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ke. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're getting to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 12th chapter, verse 24. And I'm sorry we're not getting to hear from Dharma Setu Prabhu, but he's missing in action somewhere, serving elsewhere. Could we chant one Maha Mantra for his quick recovery? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dharma Setu Prabhu Ki. Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. It says 24, but it's actually 23. I'm not chanting it. If you have your, it's 23. Let's see. And chanting and remembering. 4, 12, 23. So you don't have to write one tomorrow. You ready? 12, 23. Yeah. Janardhan, the fulfiller of all desires. Well, Janardhan Das, the servant of the fulfiller of all desires. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sanandananda Uchatu. Okay. Bobo Rajan Subhadram Te. Vacham Navahita Shrinu. Yapanchavarshas Tapasa. Bhavandevam Atitripat. Sunandananda Uchatu. Bobo Rajan Subhadram Te. Vacham no Vahita Shrinu. Yapanchavarshas Tapasa. Bhavandevam Atitripat. Sanandananda Uchatu. Bobo Rajan Subhadram Te. Vacham no Vitashrinu. Yapancha Varshasastapa. Bhavan Devam Atitripat. The first one is Uchu or Uvacha. Uchaya too. They threw us a curveball. It's two Prabhus speaking. They're in harmony. Next.
So the first line is the young singing.
Sunandananda Uchatu. Bobo Rajam Sabhadram Te. Vacham no Vahita Shrinu. Yapancha Varshas Tapasa. Bhavandevam Atitripat. Bobo Rajan Sabhadram Te. Vacham no Vahita Shrinu. Yapancha Varshas Tapasa. Bhavandevam Atitripat. Sunandanava Uchatu. Bobo Rajan Subhadram Te. Vacham no Vahita Shrinu. Yapancha Varshas Tapasa. Bhavandevam Atitripat. Yeah, my tune was a little so we'll let you slide on changing the tune, Janardhan Prabhu. That's an etiquette. It's you tried. Well, I can't throw too big of stones because when Dravida led one of he shifted gears on a tune, I didn't follow properly on the second half of here we are, all in the shower together. And one other slight point, and don't mind, this is what we do. This is what it means to associate. We encourage each other. You know, our guru's not here to pull our ear. So, hey, why not? As Vaisheshika Prabhu says, I live to be corrected. That's a Vaishnava's mood. So it's really good, Damodar Kumar Prabhu, that we chant what's written in the Bhagavatam. Just hearing or chanting Sunandananda Uchayatu, those names will purify us and help us reawaken our love for Godhead. So, it's just a thought. That's what's here and that's what we chant. Okay, Sunandananda Uchayatu. Sunanda and Nanda said. Here we go. Bo Rajan. Oh dear king. So this bo is like an exclamation, right? Hey! Kingji. Subhadram. Not just fortune, but good fortune. Te, unto you. Vacham, words. Naha, our. Avihita, attentively. Shrenu, hear. Ya, who? Panchavarsha, 5 years old. Tapasa, by austerity. Bhavan, you. Devam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ati Tripat, greatly satisfied. Translation: Nanda and Sunanda, the two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, said, Dear King, let there be all good fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you were only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities, and you thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please repeat. Nanda and Sunanda, the two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, said, Dear King, let there be all good fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you are only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities, and you thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's an important purport, that's why I didn't want to skip over it. Srila Prabhupada says in this purport, what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for anybody. Now let's go ahead and repeat that one. It's a continuation of Srila Prabhupada's thoughts, the last two sentences of the previous purport. He said, what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for everyone. And today he says, for anyone. Anyone who very seriously engages in devotional service can obtain in due course of time the same perfection of the human form of life. So Prabhupada's driving it home. He did it, why not us? Any 5-year-old child can be trained, and within a very short time his life will become successful by realization of Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, this training is lacking all over the world. It is necessary for the leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement to start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children, starting at the age of 5 years. Thus, such children will not become hippies or spoiled children of society. Rather, they can all become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. Could we say our prayers, please? Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Salakya Chakshurn Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Siyata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shakan Vitam Sha Hey Krishna Karana Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Ten-one Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagavana Vacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shreno Me Paramam Vachaha Yatteham Priyamanaya Vakshami Hitakamiya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen, again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I've already explained. Srila Prabhupada, last paragraph of the purport. He says, the more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. You got me curious, Damodar. What you writing? Do you think this is the time and place? The answer is no. It's not the time or place. I can tell you that. I couldn't tell Badrinarayan Swami. I couldn't tell Dravida because they're my seniors. But I will kindly tell you, if Prabhupada was sitting here and he saw you do that, it wouldn't surprise me if he asked, are you doing something more important than hearing Bhagavatam? No. That's lack of faith in the process. Srila Prabhupada instructed Mother Jamuna. She was chanting her rounds with him, with all the other devotees in the temple in London, Titahurst Manor. And she'd almost finished her rounds, and she pulled out a notebook just like that, and she started to write. And Srila Prabhupada stopped her. Said, Jamuna, have you finished your rounds? No, Srila Prabhupada. He said, put the pencil down, finish your rounds, then you can do that. See, knowledge is coming from Krishna. Remembrance is coming from Krishna. If we please Krishna, He'll give us everything we need to support, to facilitate our desire to serve Him. But sometimes we think that we need to do it ourselves. And really all it is, we all need guidance. That's something that I wanted to share in this class. And I'll be preaching to myself every bit as much as I'll be sharing the sound vibration, the message with you. So I will say what I say in this class with folded hands. But the first point that I wanted to make, sharing Srila Prabhupada's words, I want to establish as a foundation, wherein Prabhupada says, the more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord and the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Now Prabhupada's going to qualify this hearing with the devotees. He says, discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Purport. It's the last purport of the 10.1. Bhagavad Gita. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part in such discourses. So Srila Prabhupada's putting a qualification out here. If we were, I coming from Mayapur where we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us here, not counting Srila Prabhupada, 5 of us here. Several times during my visit we had 5,000 people there. Yeah, the hearing and chanting in the Sangha of devotees is so potent. Where the devotees gather to glorify Krishna, He descends. And the smaller the group, that doesn't really matter. Quoting Jamuna once again from her book that Dina Tarni wrote out from her notes. When they went to visit Srila Prabhupada, because their peers were saying, "You're in Maya. Why aren't you living in the temple? What are you doing off in a rural project? You don't have any association." And they came to Srila Prabhupada saying, "Srila Prabhupada will move wherever you want, we'll do whatever you..." He goes, "What is this mentality, always wanting to move? Here, there. At times he said, it's a Western mentality. Always wanting to change things, always wanting to move. But they say we have no association." He says, "What is this association? You can have 200 or you can have 2. If the devotees involved are anxious to become Krishna conscious, anxious to hear and chant and serve the Lord, then that's all one needs. We need association. But there's no disqualification that there's so few of us here this morning. Because Krishna is ready to benedict us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is ready to benedict us with their mercy. Any and all of us who want it. But it's a little bit more noticeable when there's only 5 of us if someone's like, not really here. If our consciousness is not on the words, what's the more accurate translation? May my consciousness be absorbed in the words of... Can you say it?
May my only wish be to have my
consciousness
purified by the words emanating from me.
Yeah. The purification takes place by holding them as the treasure within our heart. In Krishna consciousness, love for Krishna, you know what the primary characteristic of love of Godhead is? Close? Closer? Would you like to hear the answer? What? Huh? These are all good answers. The primary symptom of love of Godhead is attachment for Krishna. And the marginal, secondary characteristic is always thinking about Him. If we can become attached to chanting Hare Krishna, if we can become attached to hearing srimadbhagavatam, then it will fill our heart. It will not leave our consciousness. Same way with the words of the spiritual master. There are some devotees who are so Prabhupada consciousness, they will not talk about anything else but the words of the spiritual master, the qualities of the spiritual master, the activities of the spiritual master, the mercy that he has offered to me. This is what the devotees who are attached to Srila Prabhupada would say and do say. That's how we push the other dirt out. The example, I saw it when I was a young child in a book. It was at my grandmother's house. And it was one of these children's fairy tale kind of books or whatever. But it had this parable in it where there was a mouse and this cup. And the cup had milk in it. And they poured somehow, I don't remember the storyline, but a bottle of ink was poured into the glass. And it was just a matter of time before all that black ink filled the cup and pushed all the milk out. And that's the way it is with Krishna consciousness. Right now there's a lot of gunk in the heart. You know, people are getting their heart valves, the stents put in, cleared, this and that, rotor-rooter. But a real necessity is that our consciousness, which sits within the heart, become cleansed. And it's by the process. Like we were saying, if we will absorb the process as it's given to us by our acharya and the previous spiritual masters, we'll get the full benefit in the quickest way. And to the degree that we kind of do it our way, to that degree we simply postpone the inevitable. We make it more difficult on ourselves. So that's why we're here because how long has it been since Srila Prabhupada was on the planet? 77, 83, 42 years. things have changed since Srila Prabhupada was here in different ways. And I can only imagine how much it take 420 years. It's the way time acts in this material world. So at least you and I, first and second generation devotees, to the best of our abilities, have to pass on the standards that Srila Prabhupada gave us, because they're perfect. And we're trying to please Him and His representatives. That's the secret. If we'll please them, how do you please them? By doing what they tell us to do and not doing what they tell us not to do. If we please them, then they put the word into Krishna, the Lord Chaitanya. And then it's a done deal. We get the mercy. We get the love we're looking for. So this is what we're doing. Like yesterday, it was an udipan, which means a stimulus for remembering Krishna or Prabhupada. Jaman, I'd seen it more than once, and that's why I mentioned it, leaving the cap off the water on the floor in the temple. I remembered a pastime was Shrutakirti, where Srila Prabhupada would tell him, put the lid on the oil. It was sandalwood oil for the massage. The sandalwood was simply for his head, and then he would have mustard oil for the rest of his body massage. And, it's like, shut the door. You Westerners can't remember, shut the door. A cultured person shuts the door. Born in a barn. So he would tell Shrutakirti, put the lid on, several times. So, sure enough, how does Krishna reciprocate with Shrutakirti when he forgets to put the lid on? Clunk. There goes the sandalwood oil on the floor. Embarrassing as all get out. Srila Prabhupada chastises him and then commences to help him scrape up all the oil so none of it's wasted. That's the point, not to waste any of Krishna's energy. Now, one of the most important energies that Krishna has given us is time. Time is more precious than any sandalwood oil, any amount of money. This purport is dealing with time because it's glorifying Dhruva Maharaj. When you were 5 years old, you took up Krishna consciousness. Now, the black and white verse says, the words say you underwent severe austerities. But the reason why he greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because what he did was follow the instructions of his spiritual master. That's what captured Krishna. The fact that he did it with such determination is why, one of the reasons why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to this canto, this glories of Dhruva Maharaj at least 100 times. This is big stuff. So he was determined. He set the standard. Who else has been more determined in the devotional service? It's right up there. For demons, who gets the credit? Hiranyakashipu. Boy, he set the standard. He was willing to do it for as long as it took. I'm going to become immortal. I'll pay the price. Whatever temporary inconvenience or troubles or slaps on the false ego I have to take, I'll do it because I'm being offered the eternal benefit of service to Krishna. So 5 years old, what is it? Komara Chari Pragyo Dharmam Bhagavatamiya Durlabam Bhagavatamiya Tadapi Adruvam Artadam. Prahlad Maharaj told his classmates, don't wait. Don't waste time. From the very beginning of life, take up devotional service. Now, you and I didn't have that benefit. Ramapati, he may be in the kitchen or what have you. He was born into a devotee family. His grandfather was initiated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I mean, this is good stock. This devotee, he has the benefit of all that momentum of a lifetime in devotional service. You and I, not so fortunate. And Srila Prabhupada says the leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement should start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train the children. Sometimes first generation we kind of proudly, I was a hippie and this and that. And Prabhupada, he gathered up an army of monkeys, parentheses, hippies, that were his frontline soldiers in spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement. But it's nothing to brag about. In this purport, he's saying we want to save children from becoming hippies, from becoming spoiled children of society. We want the world to be a family of devotees. And the earlier you start, our culture, if we call it that, is one where from the earliest ages we ingrain the idea that sense gratification is important, that sense gratification is the way we'll be happy. I mean, if you know, in Vedic culture, in Asian cultures, etc., by the time they're 5 years old, the little girls will be carrying their little brother or sister on their hip and taking care of the children, or helping mother cook. Or the 5-year-old boy, he'll start helping his dad. That's the age Krishna and Balaram took calves out to take care of, assisting father in their work. You know, the purpose of life is to engage in activities that correspond to your nature and to offer them unto Krishna. So you don't waste time on that important aspect of the human form of life. But as Prabhupada would say, as soon, Dravida Prabhu also said the same line, 5 years old, or at least when one recognizes the urgency of becoming Krishna consciousness, then you embrace it. So these gurukulas, it's not an easy order to follow. Very difficult. I mean, there's a saying that it's more difficult to raise a family than it is to run a kingdom. Because basically, you know, kingdom this and that, it's big, deputation, or how do you say that? I'm going to empower somebody to do things. What's that? Depute. So that's there. But in family life, you're it. That your child sees you and the example that you set. And to the degree you're off the mark, to that degree that child becomes conditioned with that fruity mentality. Something outside of pure Krishna consciousness. So to help the child, at 5 years old, they're meant, according to Vedic culture, go to the ashram of the spiritual master so that they're saved from the potential of that taking place. That the material attachment that parents have for their children can be, how would we say, the child can be protected from the victimization of over-attachment to the child. The spiritual master has only the desire for the good of the children. As Sunanda and Nanda said, let there be all good fortune unto you. And love isn't something that simply is a feeling. I love you, or I like you, I respect you. Love, respect, and friendship manifest in service to each other, in helping each other. And this is so important. It's like, you know, someone says, I love God, I love Krishna, I love Jesus, whatever. How do you prove it? How much of your energy, how much of your time are you putting in to manifest, to show that you really do love? So it's the same way in Krishna consciousness. So this Gurukula is such an important standard, but I can't deal with that. That was what my service was the first 5 years in Krishna consciousness. So I have some understanding of how much Prabhupada appreciated the children in the service of helping them become devotees. We did a lousy job in so many ways with so many children. But that doesn't mean the principle is thrown out. The instruction is there, and it's only for the benefit of the children and those who take up the service. So this temple you're living in is Radha Giridhari's home, but it's under the management of Srila Prabhupada. You're in the home, the ashram of the spiritual master. Now Srila Prabhupada's sitting there, and for most of us, we don't hear him speak to us. He can. He's willing to. I know pujaris will have experiences if they revealed their heart to us, Or, with Srila Prabhupada on the altar, there's been a number of times where he has made evident his pleasure or displeasure with me in how he looks at me. I could give you a number of examples. He's present in the deity, but due to our covering and our conditioning, we're not usually open to that. If the angst, the anxiety is not strong enough that I'm giving my life to you, I want to please you, tell me how I can improve. If it's not there, then of course he doesn't speak. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, he remains the Sphinx, a stone statue. But the spiritual master is so kind, his instructions are left behind, and there are those who are living them, and they are certainly empowered and qualified to repeat those instructions. But the thing about subordinates and superiors, the subordinate has to want the guidance of his superiors. He has to want it. He has to give permission. Otherwise, it's not my place or any other senior's place to instruct. Because if you try to convince somebody against their will, there's some saying, they remain unconvinced still. No one can force us to do what we should be doing in Krishna consciousness. It's a voluntary thing. It's a matter of the heart, actually. And unless there is minimum respect or friendship or love, then the relationship isn't established. But I want to share with you that, especially in our temple, because we don't have that much of an authoritative structure. We're really more on the Bhagavat Marg here than many a temple. Because we don't have a temple president. Damodar Kumar, if I'm not mistaken, you have a title like temple commander? Is that a service that's been given to you? That's still existing? Okay. And Balaram is the ashram leader? Is that right? Okay. In his own words, one time he told me ashram leader. So maybe he was downplaying it a little. Dravida Prabhu is our senior devotee in the temple. I mean, this is what we have. This is who we have. And it's perfect by the arrangement of Krishna. But we have to be willing to submit ourselves to being guided. And it means we got to really keep a check on the false ego and the mind. Because the mind is not our friend in the anartha nivritti stage. It's constantly popping up and whispering, what's he talking about? If I wasn't on the Vyasan, I would use a little more French. But that peeves me. One's feathers get ruffled when we're told how we can improve our service. And especially sometimes it's not perfect in the delivery. But let's set the example. Srila Prabhupada in Amsterdam, for the installation of their deities, it was a catastrophe. There were senior devotees there, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and other senior Vaishnavas who knew what should be done, but somehow or other it didn't. It was played out, and there were TV cameras there and everything, national TV. And Prabhupada was furious. Anger in Krishna consciousness can burn universes. This is how you want to ask Radha and Krishna to come when you can't even set up a fire yajna? And he was on fire. Cameras are rolling. He could care less. As guru, as representative of Krishna, you're going to slight and call this service to my worshipable Lord? And finally, at some point, some hippie, a friend of Krishna, he said, why are you angry? You should chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada immediately changed gears. He took it that Guru and Krishna were speaking to him through a hippie, uninitiated person. And he went and sat down and started chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because ultimately we're not the doer. Guru can tell us what to do and what not to do, but ultimately if we don't cooperate, if we don't subject ourselves to their guidance, then we are the losers. The role of the spiritual master and those who represent him really is to chastise and correct. And it's a thankless task. If anyone thinks he's guru, he's not guru, he's goru, he's a cow. He's an animal. No one, no Vaishnav wants to correct or instruct the devotees. They're worshipable. But from that humility, then Guru can empower. No, I want you to be Guru. I want you to share the science of Krishna consciousness. If we want the scientific result, we need to follow the scientific process. Guru represents Krishna and his instructions as they are. And if one's not interested in that, what can Guru do? And we all understand these principles, but when it comes to application, it's so much harder, isn't it? Because the mind and the false ego. No one likes to be told what to do. My God, we're in American bodies. You know, this is, now I'm dating myself, but we're the land of John Wayne. When we walk, the land's supposed to tremble. Prabhupada has one of those purports in, where is it, Dravida? It's third canto, Ranyaksha, I believe, where when he would walk, the earth would kind of like, and Prabhupada in the purport says, yes, the materialistic person walks like that, where, hey, I block the sun by my presence. That may be the conditioning you have, but we are voluntarily subjecting ourselves to an ashram, to the movement, wherein Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita purport says Krishna consciousness should be executed as if in military fashion, military discipline. I don't ever encourage any of my relatives to sign up for the wars that are going on. You'll get a free education if you live through it, and if you're unmaimed, you might be able to enjoy that education and the employment that you hopefully get as a result. But one good thing that you do get out of military is they are expert at removing the false ego, where one voluntarily submits. You have to. There's not a choice in the matter, but you do set aside. You become submissive and very obedient. And that's perfect in Krishna consciousness, because we're meant to obediently follow every desire of the spiritual master. Now, Damodar Kumar Prabhu put out one thought with me, shared with me this morning, and I kind of get it, where he says, well, they're different senior devotees, they'll have different emphasis or different opinions. Was that the word you used? Different perspectives, I think is what you said. And actually that's not surprising, because Srila Prabhupada is like a Vaidurya gem, something I've actually seen. Yeah. In Melkota, the Sampat Kumar Vishnu deity on a palanquin, he had many Vaidurya gems adorning him. And such a gem is multifaceted. There's so much different colors that come off from this stone when the flame was being waved in front of the Lord. And so we're tiny little, servants of Prabhupada. We get something of the spiritual master's instructions, but Srila Prabhupada himself says no one can fully understand the import of the spiritual master and his instructions. What we hope is to please them so that we get what we need to fully surrender and please them with our activities, our words, our life. That's perfection. There's no comparison in Krishna consciousness. We shouldn't be thinking, oh, well, he does something better than me, so I can't do it. No, every individual has been made in a way that we have something special to offer Krishna. When it says that Krishna expands himself to expand his pleasure, every individual is unique and has a flavor that no other jiva has to offer in service to Krishna. And Krishna wants that association and service, that love that we have to offer. that no one else can offer. There's no comparison in that sense. It's absolute, which is what I'm emphasizing at this moment. So each of us, should simply try to do the best we can in the short time that we have. Just like I look at the clock. Time is merciless. That was an aspect I was going to bring up about not wasting time. Let's plug the gaps. Let's do our best to put the space out periods, the ozone. Let's patch the holes up with Krishna consciousness, with Krishna Katha. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 3 times Krishna basically covers this. He says, Kala, Kaliyatam Aham. Among subduers, I am time. And then in, in 2 verses on, he says, let me get it. Is this it? No, that's not it. Where is it? Yeah. Kala Data Aham. That among killers, those that kill, time is the best at killing. And then in the next verse he says, and I'm also all-devouring death. Time is just... Dravida Prabhu has on his iPad some some clock or something where, I've glanced once in a while and, it's ticking away. I don't really know the program, but it's amazing how those numbers just... And that's the way time is. It's just slipping like that. And, to wake up the karmis, you can say, you're going to die. Snap out of it. You're doing what the animals are doing. In the last 3 months, I'd watch animals every once in a while. They're all having sex. That's what they're doing. Butterflies, birds, the reptiles, etc. that I'd see. It's like, they have a blackout in New York City way back when. You'd remember the years. And 9 months later, there was this huge... increase in the population there. Because, the earth is over. End times are here. Who knows what's happening? Is the bomb dropping? Whatever. Well, let's have sex. It's no different than the goats. They're in line in the slaughterhouse. And what will they do? How will they choose to spend their time? Have sex. Because for the non-devotee, that's all they know. That's the highest pleasure of this world. For us, it's just like, are you kidding me? We're being offered the opportunity of connecting with Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. And by serving Him and pleasing Him, as the analogy was there in the mirror, the reflection is automatically beautified. By pleasing Krishna, we are totally satisfied. For those who are most surrendered, it said they satisfy more than they enjoy a higher pleasure, a higher standard of happiness than Krishna. Inconceivable. But that's the mercy of Krishna. That's the way it is. So that's what we want to do. We don't want to waste time. We're here to convince each other, to encourage each other. Man, don't space out. Take advantage of the process. Whatever baggage we're holding on to, let go of it. Please help me. Remind me when you see me carrying some unnecessary baggage. Be kind to me and make mention of it. If my false ego is brittle and I'm touchy, then try and do it kindly so the walls of my false ego won't keep it out, the good advice. But still, that's what association means. Only by keeping association with the devotees will one be allowed to develop Krishna consciousness. It's absolutely essential. Even when one attains love of Godhead, devotee association is still essential. So, many things I had in mind to say further on the subject matter, but I think I've covered the main points. Time is slipping away. Life is short. let's become anxious to become Krishna conscious. And to do that, we have to do it in the association of devotees. And that practically means Damodar Kamar, Bhakti Jamal, Dravida, Janardhan Prabhu, and the other handful of devotees that are here. You are the manifestation of the Shastric injunction. And we have to take advantage of that. Not let our mind say, no, it's not good enough, this isn't right, blah, blah, blah. Different opinions, to finish that statement, it's not surprising. But if you follow, I can remember when I left Vrindavan, I was in a party, about 9 of us all together, and the manager was an intelligent, expert manager. We really collected a lot of funds. We bought a rural property. It was like a well-oiled machine, but the guy was an egomaniac. And I said guy, shouldn't, but anyway. When he was initiated, Srila Prabhupada was there, gave him his name. He said, your name is so-and-so. So-and-so Das, Das, Das Anu Das, 1,000 times Das. Can you imagine? What is Prabhupada hinting here? You're puffed up. You're the servant, the servant, the servant, the servant, 1,000 times removed, servant of Krishna. But for me to function in that party, I really had to swallow it. The pride, I got good excuses. I got an exalted sun, I've got an exalted Saturn, exalted Mercury. It's like, hey, who are you to tell me what to do? I got this all figured out. But sharing with it, the point is, I did. I submitted to the egomaniac and did what he said. And what happened? I benefited. I made advancement in Krishna consciousness. Probably for the first time, I really got a strong realization what humility is supposed to be about. Really, it's about following the instruction of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master isn't the only one who will be giving that instruction. That's why he's developed the Society for Krishna Consciousness, so that all of us can become his representatives. All of us can become guru and care about each other enough that we will try and help by repeating the standard, repeating the instructions. And it's not just about pointing out what's wrong. We should be also verbal in how much we appreciate each other. Because if Prabhus aren't convinced that I care for them, why would they listen to anything that I have to share with them? So that time element is there. So different perspectives, but if you follow them, as long as they're not directing you against the orders of Srila Prabhupada, I don't think you're going to be misled. I don't. And if they are contradictory, actually contradictory, then, if both of them are repeating Srila Prabhupada's words and standards, then it seems like you have the God-given independence to do what will be most favorable for you. But it is a slippery slope in the beginning. In Artha Nivritti, we really need guidance from others. Our mind is not the best Siksha Guru or association, superior, senior association that we can take. So is there any comments or questions? Yes, Mahaprabhu.
Thank you for the nice class. So, actually, it's interesting that you just ended with that, because this is something that should I repeat what I just said? Anyway,
no, I heard
this
that
is something that I kind of had a question about, and you just ended with it in the lecture, this Anartha Nivritti stage. So what if sometimes we may feel like, oh, I've overcome this certain anartha, or I've crossed this, I've stepped over this, what do you call it? Anyway, yeah, obstacle. That's the word I was looking for. I was going to say boundary, but that wasn't it. But then some time goes by, and it seems like it's come back. So what do we do if we? It seems like this anartha has disappeared or dissipated, but then it is kind of.
Thank you for asking.
Manifests again in some way.
You just keep keep on going on, keep on applying Krishna consciousness. The results of our Krishna consciousness are in the hands of Guru and Krishna. We have the ability to desire to serve them and to act on that desire. But how quickly we're going to get Krishna consciousness, or how quickly we'll be out of the, clearing stage of chanting, or offensive stage of chanting, whichever may be relevant, that's up to Krishna. But our duty is with detachment and constant practice or determination to continue on trying to serve best we can. And, that's the beauty when you find somebody you can reveal your heart to. We all know we're flawed. And we're all going through the same experiences. Sometimes we think, I'm ashamed of, or I wouldn't want anybody else to know. Guess what? Most all of us are going through or have gone through the very same stuff. And if each devotee cares for each other in that reciprocation of revealing one's mind and trying to help each other, then who cares? Friendship and love, even respect, means that those things are not important. What is important is the sincere desire that this devotee is trying to serve Krishna, trying to give his life to Krishna. Anything else, that'll be taken care of in time by the Lord and the mercy of Vaishnavas. Is that okay? Are you good, Janardhan? Damodar Kumar is okay? You were an integral part of my inspiration for this class, and I mean that in a complimentary way. And I hope that because 2 times, this is a personal exchange with Damodar, in Sunday feast kirtan, I came up to you at one point, remember when I hit my head? Do you remember that? And you kind of went like this. And I realized, I guess that wasn't the best way. In my perception, it looked like you weren't focusing on the names, the sound vibration. I could have been very well wrong about that. One reason that helps us, one thing that helps the Prabhus is when we enthusiastically engage in the process. Chanting is meant to be done for the benefit not just of ourselves but others. So we're meant to loudly chant. And the symptom of one who's absorbed in hearing and loudly chanting is generally we get off the bodily platform. It's the nature of the association and service of the names, and one begins to dance. It's not, what would you say? It's not forced or this or that. Even though, one last thing, I one time headed up a Sankirtan party, book distribution party, and from Dallas we went to New Orleans. And you know what the instruction was for Mangal Artik of the temple president in that temple? As soon as Samsara Dhavana started, everybody started dancing. I'm going, my God, these guys are fired up. Well, I came to find out that if you didn't dance in Mangal Artik, no breakfast. But it was an ecstatic kirtan. Every Mangal Artik was ecstatic because you get off the bodily platform when you follow the process, chanting, dancing. It's amazing. So anyway, I apologize because I think I disturbed you there. And, it's not my intent to discourage anybody, and I ask forgiveness for when I do or have. I love you, Prabhus, care for you, and simply want to take advantage of your association and help you in whatever meager way I can. On that note, Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Haribo.